Hey, student, how are you? Welcome to our session on properties of exponents. We'll take some notes and do some practice problems. All right, our first property, the product property of exponents. When the bases are the same and you are multiplying, we will add the exponents. 2 to the third times 2 to the seventh is 2 to the 10th power. The variables, when bases are the same and we're multiplying, we'll add the exponents. Quotient property. When you are dividing and bases are the same, we will subtract the exponents. 6 to the 8th divided by 6 to the 3rd, we're left with 6 raised to the 5th power. Subtract the exponents when you are dividing. And for the variables, we'll subtract the exponents, 2 minus 5, and we get x raised to the negative 3rd power. Power to a power, multiply the exponents. When you have a power raised to another power, we will multiply the exponents. 4 to the 3rd power, all raised to the 5th power. 3 times 5, we get 4 raised to the 15th power. Then taking a look at some variables, we also have 5x squared, all raised to the 3rd power. We do need to raise 5 to the 3rd power. And then x raised to the 2nd power, all raised to the 3rd power, is x to the 6th. Power to a power, multiply the exponents. 5 to the 3rd is 125, so we could simplify and get our final answer. The 0 power. Anything raised to the 0 power is 1. 3 to the 0 power is 1. This entire expression, 4 to the power of x times y times z, is all being raised to the 0 power, so this entire expression will be equal to 1. Negative exponents, we want to think reciprocal. 5 raised to the negative 2nd power, we have a negative power in the numerator. So we'll put 5 in the bottom raised to the positive 2nd power, reciprocal. And 5 to the 2nd power, you can simplify. And taking a look, we'll keep 2 in the bottom because only x is being raised to the negative 3rd power. So we'll move it to the top of the fraction, and now our exponent is positive 3. 2 is not being raised to the negative 3rd power. 2 stays in the bottom. And we'll do some practice problems. You can always pause the video at any time and try them before we go through them. All right, properties of exponents. Number 1, bases are the same and we are multiplying, so we will add the exponents. And negative 2 plus 6, we get x to the 4th power. Number 2, we are dividing. 12 divided by 3, we get 4. And then subtract the exponents when dividing and bases are the same. 5 minus 3, we get x to the 2nd power. Number 3, we have a power to a power. 2 is being raised to the 4th power times x to the 3rd, all raised to the 4th power. X to the 3rd raised to the 4th power, power to a power, we multiply the exponents. We get x to the 12th, and you can simplify. 2 to the 4th power is 16. 16x to the 12th. Power to a power. Multiply. Number 4, 5 times x to the 7th is all being raised to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power is 1. Number 5, we are raising 5 to the second power and x to the negative first power, all raised to the second power. Power to a power, multiply the exponents. Now we could simplify this, 25x to the negative second power, and then using our negative exponent property, we'll put x to the negative second power in the denominator. And now we have a positive exponent. There is our solution. And last but not least, number 6, we'll use the negative exponent property. Negative exponent property, reciprocal. I can flip this fraction for on the top, 3x to the 5th on the bottom. And using our reciprocal, we now have a positive 2. Excuse me, a positive 2 now that we flip the fraction. 4 raised to the second power, we get 16. And on the bottom, we have 3 to the second power is 9. And x to the 5th raised to the second power, power to a power, multiply the exponents. And that concludes our session on properties of exponents. Thanks so much for joining our session, and I'll see you next time.